to practice. I was thinking about it as I was getting up this morning. I thought, gosh, if this was just left to me in my own not wanting mind, I might still be laying there. And even after all these years with all these clear benefits.
That's the truth.
Isn't it? Be a lot easier just not to do it.
See, that's why I love Diana.
Marilyn, that's right, because I'm always going to tell the truth about this. No bullshit here.
Fuck yeah. Sorry, I'll mute myself now, but
You don't need to. You just need to show up just like you did. Thank you so much. Because what was I saying? That without you, without this community, there is no practice.
No.
And by the way, it isn't just because you get to the cushion. It's because you end up learning how to be kinder. You learn how to be grateful for every other box with every other name on it, because they bothered too. And what do you know? You bothered not just for you bothered for them too, because you're just being here, whether you're lying, sitting, standing, or walking, is of benefit. And I want everybody to remember that, because I forget myself and I'm the teacher. I'm the teacher. I forget. Like, really? I don't know. They could all sit there, right? And the truth is, no. We could all sit in a closet. I tried that for 9 years, by the way. I had basically a solo practice with drop-ins to the Zen Center and interviews with my teacher, but the community just was annoying. Ugh. They were older. Now when I say older, that's couched in the fact that they were probably all UCSD professors in their 50s. Yeah. Well, they were older. Yeah. I thought, what do they really know? Not so much. And my teacher was 80. And I thought, yeah, she's old. So what does she have to really say? That's just a ton of fear. Ton of fear. Ton of arrogance, which is fear. Don't mistake it. Fear. And you have to work through all that you work through in the time you work it through. So what I want you to know is we're here to do that together. So any of you who got up this morning going, I don't know, I could, I'm laying here anyway. What the hell? Thank you for picking this, because we're all going to benefit. This morning, I thought we would go back, since we're not going to be starting the book study, A Whole Life Path. Not the whole, WHOLE, Life Path, by Gregory Kramer, a friend of mine, and great teacher, more evolved teacher now than just in the last 4 years, because he's had multiple myeloma, and it's been an amazing teacher. He wrote the book since that diagnosis and those challenges. And he always says what I think is as close to the Dharma as one can get. And so I have a lot of gratitude and appreciation and respect for him and his teachings. And so we're going to be working on how do you turn these practices that you do for 10, 15, 20 minutes, or just 60 breaths a day. Remember, I've asked that our community commit to each other, that we at least practice for 60 breaths a day. How? 20 in the morning, 20 in the evening, 20 scattered in little groups of 3 to 5 breath cycles throughout the day. I promise, money back guaranteed, that you will be better, your world will look brighter, and you will contribute more from those 60 breaths. We know it by research. I know it by absolute reality myself. So just know it's there for all of us to commit. That's what we bring to the Sangha, whether we are here or not. That's when we're sure, I think, that we're full of shit. I'm going to just say it that way. What does that mean? That means every time I quit, and I did it about 1,000 times, so most of you have a bunch of times to go. Every time I quit, I realized that I was trying to get away from something that was unavoidable, inescapable, imperturbable. It was called the truth. I didn't like it. I didn't want it. I thought I'd do something else. And I didn't like the feelings. I didn't like the anxiety. I didn't like the distress. I didn't like the queasy in my belly. I didn't like the choke in my throat. I didn't like the squeeze around my heart when I sat. So I spent a lot of time avoiding it. A ridiculous, ridiculous waste of time. Let me tell you, ridiculous, ridiculous waste of time. So don't bother. Don't bother. Take my wisdom because there is no way to get around the truth. The only thing we can do is hold it together. And that is what we're going to do this morning. So I thought I'd go back to an old practice. It used to be called the 6 R's, 6 R's. I'm going to change those R's today. I decided the number 1 R should be rest, not recognize. And I'm going to move that back a little bit and play with it this morning. Let's see how it goes. I'm going to check in with Carrie before I read our essential invocation for the day and just make sure we've got any essential announcements made.
Nothing that I know of right now. We're waiting for the next date for St. Andrews. That's it.
Okay. We did such a great job, by the way, everyone,
Yeah.
last time, including those gorgeous boxes from Karen and Adrian. So thank you again for that. That's very meaningful. Put us on the map, I think, with St. Andrews. When are we going to start the book? That, thank you, Leslie. I was on that left. That will be the second week, second Tuesday. Maybe I'll do the orientation on the second Tuesday. We'll start the book the third Tuesday in January. I don't want to go through holy days trying to navigate a book and family and the stressors that are already there. I think we'll do short shrift to the book and to the practices. So I don't want to throw that in, right? Just to go, we did it. Feels wrong. So we're just going to get through the holidays together. I would like everyone to get the book now and begin to read it. At least be thumbing through, looking at some pages, because trying to read it, digest it, and do the practices. I am going to start rereading because I read it at the beginning of the summer. I'm going to start rereading mine now. And I believe it is available at a variety of locations. So I think we're all good there. All right, thanks so much, everyone. We will be doing Saturday meditation again here in the garden. It was gorgeous last Saturday. We're going to try to do it as much as we can, but we'll also be doing Zoom. Yes, we'll write the name of the book. All right, so here we go. Everybody get yourself settled. This is a poem you've heard before, but it was one that spoke to me this morning. And so I thought I'd begin here. This poem is called Awakened. Awakened. In advanced age, my health worsening, I wake up in the middle of the night and experience a feeling of happiness so intense and perfect that in all my life, I had only felt its premonition. And there was no reason for it. It didn't obliterate consciousness. The past, which I carried, was still there, together with my grief. And it was suddenly included, was a necessary part of the whole. Let's breathe that in. As if a voice were repeating, you can stop worrying now. Everything happened just as it had. You did what was assigned to you as best you could. And you are not required anymore to think of what happened so long ago. The peace I felt was a closing of accounts and was connected with the thought of death. The happiness on this side was like an announcement of the other side. I realized that this was an undeserved gift and I could not grasp by what grace it was bestowed upon me. I could not grasp by what grace this clarity, this dharma, this happiness, this ease was bestowed upon the reckoning. It was called Awakened, this poem.
Mhm.
And one that experience I have frequently noticed more and more, as I hope that you all have as well. And so we're going to get the feet, the legs, the buttocks, the back anchored in some way that feels supportive. Really support ourselves as best we can so that we can open as wide, as deep, as big as is possible. So find that seat and take that seat for yourself. And then we're going to begin with that first R, which is simply to rest. We're just going to notice the breath moving in and out of the body. No special breath. Just letting the body find its way into a little bit of stillness. We know by the science that settling a little bit more into the out breath will draw the mind into the body, draw the body down into the earth, and offer that relaxation response and stability. And then my second R is going to be R for reignite, reignite. We're going to reignite this open, bold, fiery, passionate, caring heart. Reignite. And we do so by calling on our aspirations. And we know that there are the preliminaries, they're called. What are they? They are one, to cause least harm. That's a good one. Let's start with that basic. By your very sitting here, you are accomplishing that. By your very stillness, by the very cultivating of awareness, no matter how murderous the thought, the truth is you are not acting it out because this body is still. And it counts. The second is to contribute in its time. We contribute something to the good, not only for ourselves then, the third, not only for those we love, but for all beings everywhere without exception, omitting none. Without exception, omitting none. Awakening us and freeing us all. Calling to mind those for whom we practice today, please call someone or a group to mind that you don't normally call. I'm going to call all those who rescue dogs to mind. All those who rescue animals. I'm going to make that bigger. There are many of you here. Thank you. This practice is being dedicated to you. So there are two of the new R's, the rest, then the reignite. Now we have established ourselves perfectly for the practice. Now, by the way, it doesn't even matter what you do. You've set the intention correctly. You've established the posture, both inner and outer. You can now place the mind. Where? Well, you can place it simply on the exhale. Resting, continuing the rest into the breath, into the body. You can also place it at the end of the out breath, touching into that gap and finding your way to the in breath, but letting the in breath come to you. If that feels too tight or too squeezy and too much focused attention, your brain may not be ready for that just yet, and you might be resisting. You can just into that out breath, settle into the gap, and then open wide into the infinite space all around you. We don't have to avoid life. That's not actually the point of the practice. I'd like you to try those out for 2 to 3 breaths just to see which one is feeling available to you. And then I'd like you to settle into that one for several minutes. It doesn't matter where the mind goes. This practice is about 2 things: awareness of breath, as well as awareness of not breath. That's called the third R. That one is recognition, knowing the nature of mind. You may have to drop the out breath for a time. That means you've kind of just got to release it, and it can feel like a drop. And it's just fine to do that. We carry and hold and tighten around that breath all day long. So if it helps you to just breathe it out, give it a little extra push, that's just fine. See if you can stay soft in the face, the shoulders, the belly. Befriending the breath, the body, and the knowing. Commit yourself. Watch the tendency to get carried away. That's called the recognize. The minute you do that, we're going to unhook or release from that thought, that image, that belief, that emotion, whatever's happening there as an object of mind. We recognize, we simply release, smile, right at the knowing, at the wisdom. And we come back, return. Back to the body, back to the breath. And we restart, we re-intention, we simply begin again. And then we rest. Rest in the out breath. Stay engaged in that out breath as best you can. Feel the very sensations, the experience and reality of that out breath, that one out breath. And then there's the big R, the remember. We remember what it's like to come home to ourselves, to be present to our life, to be embodied, alive, and wakeful. We remember that each breath is a new moment, a new opportunity to awaken. And we place everything there, just in this one breath. We rest, we reignite, we remember once again when we have fallen, when we have gone to sleep, when we've dulled out, dreamed out, distracted. We reignite the aspiration. What am I sitting here for anyway? We recognize the nature of mind, the quality of mind, the quality of heart mind. No matter where it is, the recognition is the liberation. We are once again present, alive, awakened. No longer caught in the dream. We unhook from the past, the future, the last breath, the breath to come. We ground ourselves again right here. We come back again and again. And we smile at finding our way home. Each time a gift. As we remember. Be watchful of the mind that says, I just can't get this right. I'm hopeless. I should practice more. I should forget the whole thing. They're all wrong. Recognize, release, come back to the breath, smile, re-intention, and remember, and rest, rest this breath, this moment, in this precious gift of life. Remembering thoughts are thoughts. You may notice that the resting in awareness becomes easier. The noises become no longer distractions, just a part of the brilliant show. Your own thoughts, your own opinions, your own feelings, simply brilliant fireworks in that vast sky. And if you are in any of the R's, and of course you are, you should be smiling because that acknowledgement, that recognition, that's the mindfulness. there is no recognition that can be of benefit without that remembering, without remembering our humanness, without remembering our vulnerabilities, our habits, our fears, our pains, and then feeling real love, real compassion. For ourselves and all those just like me who forget. Who forget to begin again, who forget to smile, who forget to return or release or remember or re-intention. We simply begin again with kindness, befriending ourselves. Without that very important R, that real love, that real self care, that real compassion, there's very little point to the recognition. We simply beat the crap out of ourselves with it. The whole point in the seeing is to see that it's simply a habit. It's not who we really are, but that our response to it is everything. Not whether we do it, but what we do once we saw that we did it. Can we feel truly for ourselves? That's what that smile actually is. It's shining down that real love. It's okay. And then we see that we cannot, and why bother being mindful if we cannot then respond with loving kindness and compassion? And that we cannot be compassionate and loving unless we see clearly the true nature of this being human. And then you can feel the room, the spaciousness, the lighter breath, the release of the body. It's no longer a technique, it's a way of living. It's a way of being, a way of participating, being alive. And then for a few breaths, we remember her place in the world. That it is right here with this heart open wide. Rest and remember who we really are. May we be filled with loving kindness and may we be well. May we be peaceful and have ease. And may we be happy. May we all be happy. May we all have peace. And may this practice today contribute. Let this be so. So be it. See if I can turn on my TV here so I can see a little better. Take a moment. We came up with a few extra R's there. You don't know. I added the R, real love and compassion. Real love and compassion. And my interest really is my own question for you. I noticed it in myself, so I'm curious about it for you. What did you notice changed when you added that? In addition to the methodology, which is the original 6 R's, recognition, return, release, resmile, restart, remember. What was it like for you? If you're more comfortable chatting online, write that. What was it like? How did it change or shift or alter in any way the practice for you? Leanne, you're here. I don't know if you're unmuted, but since I got your beautiful face in the mirror, I'm gonna talk to you.
Yeah, I always just want to make a connection. I feel like I've been a little behind a couple boulders lately, but yeah, I think the real love to me was, I feel like I had a really open sky and an open space above me, but when you said the words real love, it got wider, I guess. I get emotional, but it got bigger, and realizing that you always kind of have to keep opening up that sky. And I think one of the things that really resonated this morning for me was, in the visualization of it, is the unhooking. I think, as I kind of drifted around this, kind of this lit up sky and awareness, I found myself, I loved the unhooking, unhook yourself. But then I realized, wow, I still have this hook on me. I got to unhook the hook. So that visualization really helped me be here this morning. And so that real love just made, open wider.
Yeah, exactly right. Beautiful. Thank you.
I may not stay on camera, but I'm with you.
Thank you. Other R's, I'm going to stick for a minute with this inquiry about that real love part. And then the other question I had today is which R, because Leanne naturally went to it, which R seemed relevant, meaningful for you today?
I worked with release. And that also, because of what on Saturday, we talked a little bit about having loving kindness towards those that, but so in the releasing, I had to find myself like giving loving kindness to the other person who's in fear, and I have fear of their behavior, right? Like, so, but the led me to the loving kindness, and then I did this little thing that I do to release.
Yeah.
So I had to finish something to shake it off.
So the release, a little bit like Leanne's unhook, right? A little bit of kind of get out of the small box, get out of the fear box, we could say, get out of the just fear place. And we don't climb out of that, by the way. You don't just get over it, do you? It's not, no, that's not how it actually works. You have to open something. You have to open to get it, which is forgiveness, mercy, recognition of humanness, whatever that widening that we all have to do. And often beginning with ourselves. Often that Robin could do it today for another is really a pretty big statement about how wide she can be, because we can't always get there, and we certainly can't get there first, can we? Sometimes you just got to go, there I am, in the recognition, thinking these terrifying thoughts, thinking these murderous thoughts, thinking these vengeful thoughts, thinking these why can't this person just be gone thoughts, and then feeling for ourselves. And then from that, we can often then go, wait a minute, they're suffering too. They're in ignorance, delusion too. They're pain too. And in fact, there is no one. Anyway, there's no one over there, just like there's no one sitting here. This is that delusion of self and other, that there's some fixed, solid, only this entity. And of course, in our fear, we make a boogeyman and they become very real, don't we? It doesn't mean there aren't people out there causing harm. That's not what I said. What I'm also saying is that is not the whole of them either. That is not all they are either. That is an expression of their fear, their pain. And yes, we talked about it on Saturday. Don't we all get to go, I'm not going to let you hurt me, and I'm not going to let you hurt you. I'm actually going to take a step back, take a skillful action, and actually let it come out of what? Our own real love, right? We don't let kids stick things in electric sockets. That's nice, that's good, that's loving. And right? And so we don't let the addict, steal. We lock up our jewelry, we take the checkbook, we do what we need to do. And sometimes we kick them out. Isn't it true? Yeah, real love. We kick them out. You can't be here anymore. You're too destructive to you, me, and everyone else. So that can't happen. So I don't want to get saccharine about this thing called real love. I think it's bigger. And I think it's harder too. Because we have lots of nice ideas, don't we, about it? And then the real living of it means, what's the greatest action I can take in safety of me and you, in protection of me and you, in love of me and you? or, and then who? And in our largest aspiration, everyone benefits. Yeah, Robin, thank you.
And like what you're saying is I am stepping away
Yeah,
and releasing the grip of the relationship. So that's what I have to do.
yeah. And then we stop waiting for somebody else to be different. And that's real love too, isn't it? You go, wait a minute, what do I keep waiting for you to do it? I better step in here, grab my life by the steering wheel and go, wait a minute, if this isn't working for me, that's okay. Real love for everyone might mean releasing you from needing to be the guy, the one, the partner, the getting it right, the, person who's good at bingo, I don't know, whatever you get, you're imagining somebody else is supposed to be. It's never true. What are you supposed to be? That's really the key. You shimmy and squeeze. Yes, we do, don't we? Oh, the rest. So rest was important for someone. Yeah, rest is, I added that. I think rest is where we all ultimately want to begin, even when we're not restful. By the way, I think we rest with where we are. So let's not mistake rest as some a nirvana state. I think rest is really just, okay, we're here. I'm here with this tight belly. I named it, didn't I? I said a little tight belly, a little squeezy in the throat, little grip in the heart space. Can I rest with that? Can I rest with the whole? And it takes us a few breaths, but I could feel that we had gotten there. So wonderful. Marilyn, I see you. Did you want to say something? Or were you just hanging out?
I was just hanging out. I figured I'd be visible. I'm like, I wouldn't be fun for me to teach to a bunch of boxes. And so I thought I'd give you just
Well, thank you.
another face.
I love seeing that face. So thank you so much. Even when I only see the name, I know who's back there.
Of course.
Yeah, but it's lovely to have eyes and a nose and mouth to go with that also. Was there a particular R that had any value or resonance for you today?
Well, what was interesting for me is, everything, but from even before that, when I walked into my studio and my husband was working out with the music blasting, when I walked, and he was like, oh no, okay. I said, no, you already fucked my momentum. No, it's fine. No. And we went back and forth with that while you're like talking. I'm like, so it's like, I'm like, no, I have to pivot now. I'm just going to pivot.
Yeah.
So, and so it's interesting how that pivot can happen more and more quickly. So that return, it's not that we don't fall off, right? It's the return. How quickly does the return happen? So
Right.
then when I came back in here, I don't generally do breath meditation. That's not, but I just decided to go with that. So what's my roundabout answer to your question is, I started with rest because for me, a rest practice is extraordinarily spacious and gives so much room for everything to just come and go. And as it comes and goes, meeting it with a very soft, it can fall, it can bounce, it can do what it does, and the rest only gets deeper. So I probably stayed there, but what's more amazing is I didn't even hear any of the other R's.
Yeah.
I didn't even hear them because I became quite fascinated with it. First, breath practice is very choking for me. But then as the thoughts and the distractions come, it becomes, it's not suffocating anymore. It's kind of like a place to return to again from the dream.
Yes.
And as you know, I've been practicing a lot with my eyes open. So this was with my eyes closed. I still have that question about eyes open and closed practice for that reason for myself. I have questions about it.
Yeah.
So I guess I stayed with the rest because everything else for me bounced off of the establishing of that intention.
Lovely. And I love that you didn't hear anything else, because when you don't, it means you didn't need it.
Yeah.
It wasn't useful or resource. We'll throw another R in there for kicks. And then that's always correct.
Hmm.
That is always correct. If you didn't hear it, that's because you were attending
Mhm.
in some way and didn't need that support, right? So there are guardrails everywhere. It doesn't mean we have to hit them all, right, for them to be valuable. So you're doing that's exactly right practice. I'm saying this to the Sangha as a whole, so that you guys don't go, whoops, I missed that
Mhm.
as some error. It is not an
Mm.
error. It means I didn't need that. And if you did recognize my voice and were caught in thoughts or caught in the dream, that's just that little moment. And did you need to hear the instruction? Well, maybe not. Maybe all that you needed was to go, whoops. Okay, not quite here. And neither do we attend to everything in every moment, right? There were crows cawing out my window. There was a dog barking. I recognized all of that. I wasn't giving that attention. It was just something arising in the field. And so that's exactly right practice, Marilyn. And thank you for reminding all of us that that's actually what that looks like. That is actually what that looks like. So thank you and good to see you. Anybody else? R, favorite R, difficult R? Why are I even here? What are you doing? Anybody else? Looks like we're pretty good. Seth, I think I see you on there. I hope you're well. Just want to make sure that you know we're all thinking of you and sending blessings every day. And
Yeah, I'm good.
I'd love to hear your voice and love to hear that. Wonderful. All right, gang, I think if we don't have any more, I'm going to give it just another minute to make sure that we've all addressed whatever the, I hope that what you noticed by my initial instructions was that there's no one place to put the mind. That's really an essential instruction for me. I've come from 4 different traditions. I've studied Dzogchen. I've studied the Tibetan Mahayana. It's one I rest in frequently. I also began my practice in the Zen tradition and in Vipassana. So the truth is I love them all. So you noticed I offered a little piece of each of those to say, well, hey, I just want you to start together with the out breath because there is some benefit we really know in the invitation of the parasympathetic nervous system to really just gather ground and be. We rest there for a moment, but where you go from there, infinite open space, right back to the in-breath if that's available in your practice. I know several of you have a breath awareness practice as your primary practice. That's spectacular. Somebody said to me, could you teach me Vipassana? Yes, we do it every single week. Because, yeah, okay, that's it. Let's not make it complicated. Noticing the in-breath, noticing the out-breath, noticing both. That's the beginning of Vipassana. Breath in, noticing breath in, breath out, noticing breath out, noticing both in and out, and it develops and extends and goes to insight and wisdom and compassion from there. Why? Well, because the Buddha himself said, if you know the in-breath as the in-breath and you know the out-breath as the out-breath, you know the nature of all things. Isn't that beautiful? You know the nature of all things in their arising and passing, in their presence and disappearing, in their appearing and in their disappearing, in their arriving and in their fading. This is the nature of all conditioned, right? Reality. We know this. What else besides the breath? Me. Hey, that's me right here, coming and going, appearing in anger, disappearing in mercy, arriving in excitement, disappearing in grief, right? It's all there. It's all true. So that is the essential Vipassana. So for those of you, I don't say the word often. That part is true, but I laughed when I heard it because we often believe, this is something I'll leave you with. We often believe, if I could get that right, if only I could get that practice down, if only I could stick to the breath, If only I could just rest in infinite open spacious awareness. If only I could see everything as a dream, then it'd all be a piece of cake. Well, no, and that's true too, because then we see what? All in its appearance, we greet it, we open to it, we rest, right? And then we notice that it changes. That is the reality of the human life we have and live. And our knowing that, I believe, is essential to feeling that real love and compassion for all of us. Because there we are with those boulders, as Leanne was saying. Those boulders are actually not life. Those boulders are our resistance to what actually is happening that we don't like. It does not mean it's easy, because aging, illness, death, right? Not that simple. There's a lot of stuff that comes with that. And yes, we can, in our humanness, hold each other right in the middle of that boulder. That is often our own, like, why can't I make this better? Or why can't I fix it? Or why do I feel like this? I got from Leanne, hi, in the words of Mary J. Blige, who I love, real love, I am searching for a real love. Isn't it true? And guess where? There's only one place to look. Only one. You don't have to go all over town. That's the good news. The real place is right here in our own, naturally awakened, naturally alive, naturally vibrant, open hearts. And we have to practice a little bit for that, I notice myself. Not because the real love isn't there, but because I've got it cluttered with gotta, have to, shoulda, if only, why not, how come it went like that, what the hell, right? Thinking mind. And once I settled that thinking mind just a little, what I notice is, wow, there it is again, right there for me, and now for others, in a way that I love, and that I hope you love. All right, everyone, it's good to see you this morning. We will be practicing with Greg Thursday at 7, and we will be both here in the garden and on Zoom this Saturday, the 13th of November at 7:30, and we'll be offering both. So I hope to see you, one, both, as many as are beneficial to you and others. It's good to see you all this morning. All right, everyone. Blessings to all. Please take care, be well. And know that you are a blessing to me. Please. All right, everyone. Mwah. See you all. Adrian,
Thanks.
good to see Adrian. I see her. She's
Bye.
probably in the car heading off to work. Good to see you. All right, everyone. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.